the biggest challenge I have in Africa is the lack of knowledge,
Yeah.
the lack of awareness that is
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah.
In America, we've moved from awareness, we're now to the place of acceptance, and very soon we'll
And
find
inclusion is the goal.
an inclusion, right?
Yeah.
So, but in those parts of the world, especially like Africa, um, people are still in denial. That's number one.
Yeah.
Because they're in denial, I have people that I know that are very close that have almost hid their kids behind closed doors.
Wow.
Literally, they've hid their kids with autism behind closed doors, and I think that's a detriment to
Yeah.
that child.
You should. I feel like you should go through some punishment, because
No,
I've seen
yeah.
one that we for a long time I didn't even realize that he had a second child, right? And this one was even worse because they had two children. If it was just the only child and they hit the child, it would be different. But then the younger sibling knew that I have an older sibling that never comes out. It was for a long time, and then we just stumbled on the we heard the sound, and I'm like, oh, there's someone else, and then oh yeah, we never just bring him out and all of that. I'm like, what do you even mean?
Yeah, yeah.
What do you even mean you don't bring, like, how?
It's one is because they don't know how to handle it. They don't know
Yeah.
and they haven't come to terms with it.
And
I
there's
think,
also the stigma.
yeah, of course, because that's because they don't know what it is. So they just so they misappropriate the energy that they should be using to empower that child to become
Yes.
one of the greatest people that lives on the planet of this earth.
Yeah.
They've used it for something else, and they've hid their gift away. They've hid their gift away. I know it's a challenge raising a child or a loved one who's on the spectrum.
Yeah.
I urge parents that early intervention is the key. At our last event, the fundraiser we had, immediately I got off stage from speaking about the issues and the passions that we had that day. Someone in that crowd walked up to me with tears in their eyes and said, I have a child, but no one in my crew, no one in my setup, no one amongst us here know that I have a son who's on the spectrum. I said, well, from today on, let them know because you have a blessing. And he said, my words have inspired and encouraged him. Gerald, we're not going to spend the whole day talking about it. Let's talk about Isaac.
Yes, sir.
Who is Isaac, the child? What was life like growing up?
So I was a happy child. First of all, I'm a church boy. It's funny that people always say, "Oh, but you say you're a church boy, but you don't do gospel music." Well, I'm a Christian, and I'm an artist, right? So I'm not a gospel artist, but I'm a Christian, right? So the message I carry is my life and how I live my life, right? Now, I sing love songs, I sing at weddings, I sing at private events, I sing at birthdays and all of that. And God is the real source of love. So it's my own love song you should even like, because you know that it's coming from a pure place. It's coming from the origin of love in itself, right? And that was a very hard stereotype to break, especially in Nigeria where I grew up. A lot of people are like, how can you be a church boy and you're trying to, go outside and be singing love songs and stuff like that? But essentially, it's my assignment, right? So fast backtrack to
Church
20.
boy. What do you mean by church boy? You grew up in the church?
I grew up in church all my life. I'm still in church. I'm still a worship leader in church, right? I mean, you can attest to House on the Rock, all of that way back when. I've always been a church boy. I've always been in choir. I've always, led worship in church and all of that. And trust me, there are a lot of stereotypes in Nigeria that we need to break. I hope that I mean, things are getting better with our generation, right? But there are a lot of stereotypes. So the fact that you grew up in church, you have to be doing this. But that's not my assignment, right? So what? Are you a gospel lawyer? Are you a gospel doctor? You know what I mean? There's all of those things to talk about. And so 2011, I went on Project Fame West Africa, which was the biggest reality TV show in Nigeria back in the days. And then I didn't win. Unfortunately, I came out sixth. But a lot of people always thought I won because of how hard I pushed. Look, I'm a firm believer in once God has put something in you, that's wrong with it, right? And so 2011 that happened. Right after then, I feel like that was my major introduction to mainstream music, because at that point, I started doing all the amazing things, all the amazing things that are happening now pretty much was birthed from that experience. growing up, I used to sing. I have three other siblings. We all used to sing in church and stuff like that. But at some point in time, everybody else left to go and pursue money. I started with the music. And so I've been singing. I pretty much have been singing for like since I can remember, since I was.
So where does the inspiration come from?
Truthfully, I say it comes from God, but that's the broad answer, right? But inspiration to write my music comes from anywhere, honestly. And I can see something or an issue comes to mind, or like I use other people's experiences, to write music as well. My latest album, right, is called Chocolate and Pajamas. I put that out in April, and the inspiration for that pretty much came from, I'm a lover boy, right? I like to create beautiful memories, especially with couples, and yeah, and so I say that gently because a lot of people are like, oh, so it's only couples that can come for your show and stuff. No, um, I also preach self-love because you can't give what you don't have.
Of
Do you
course, I
understand?
agree with you.
So I always tell people, if you're single, enjoy the moment, love yourself enough till your partner comes, and that's how you're able to give good love. You can't give what you don't have, right? That's your moment to connect with God. That's your moment to build yourself, build your life, build to a point where learn. Enjoy the moment. That's the moment where you can up and travel. Right now, I have a wife and two kids. My life is literally scheduled. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Look at how hard it was to get like a moment.
I completely understand that. How old are your kids?
My kid, there's 6 and 4, right?
You're on your own.
Uh no, no, no. Look,
I know,
at this point,
I know exactly where you are.
uh,